This year's Worlds has blessed us with lots of incredibly well executed games, however a single one has stood out among the rest. Coming from the rookie Bruhbruhbruhwho nonetheless, this is a game that all of the top players have praised as one of the most flexible and intriguing games this set. We are playing in a Soraka and Varus game with a 3-cost start, immediately picking up Anima here. Anima has been seen as one of the top lines to be playing around all the rest of the patch pretty much, just due to the extra resources and what they can do in hands of these players. Also with the Mech being a prominent line that can play for those winouts. So we're definitely holding on to this Alawi. Ideally this would be an Aurora, because with Alawi someone with Aurora can outsack you, just due to the ability she possesses. However, we can also still consider playing here around these Vanguards. Unfortunately, did not see really backliners that we could pair. And this is a gold opener here, so immediately noticing to make 10 gold. Remember, everything in stage 1 comes in packages of 6 gold. So if you see a 6 gold blue orb and then a grey orb, you can consider there's going to be 2 more gold incoming. And you can also usually just scout around and see the number of components to see if you have a potential for making 10 gold. Here, Big Bang Meepsy, fun augment, we have Edge of Night, but unfortunately this is going to be hard to play off. You definitely need extreme early game tempo in this kind of a caliber lobby to even consider top 4ing with it. Warlord's Honor is a good combat augment. Lots of players overlook this. If we had a reroll spot for something like a Primordial Jinx, we could consider this and then look for that spike going into the stage 3. Late game scaling, an augment where you would want to use this XP to tempo and then make it to your 5-cost board, your fast 9 board from the early game tempo you established. Otherwise, this seems just the best generic decon option right now, because we do not want more stats in our unit if you're still angling this Anima. After selling to make 10 gold there, you're definitely, unless you have already a very strong direction in the opener, you are most cases considering playing from a loss streak, therefore you're defaulting your econ augments. Heavy with the Crown though has some lines, for example, Gnar can be played around it, Jinx herself can be played around it, but with an Anima, you can pretty much guarantee your losses this way. Just rebench your Crown every turn and put it on the first unit that's going to be dying. Hustler, an econ option that I have not seen a single competitive player to seriously take this set. Can be played in like your 1-cost rerolls where you just roll to 0 every single turn. However, you know, it's just too underpowered. Therefore, I would assume we're going to be making bodyguard trading after buffs. This augment is quite good in my opinion. This is great for especially Space Group, which already gains base stats and some healing, so popping up even more magic damage and resistances into your line is amazing. Otherwise, can be played in your general fast 9 lines. We can see the player, I'm not so sure if you can, but someone has called the Jinx. We can see they have a treasure hunt, someone's angling potentially Space Group with that early on from 3-cost Frontline Foundation, and lots of treasure hunt. Like, people are just clicking treasure hunt and saying, we'll figure this thing out. We have Anima, we are going to be slotting it in, and we can see he's immediately hovering that heavy as a Crown. He can queue into Teemo 1, immediately going to be just securing a full loss. And the pings are coming in, obviously, you can see already, but with a heavy as a Crown, unless someone open sells on us or like just goes down to like 1 unit, we are going to be having a good time. I'm interested to see why he opts to frontline Jinx. Like, I think... No, Jinx has less HP. Yes, Jinx has less HP than the Briar, so he's putting the least durable unit right in front there, right? You could be considering potentially the resistance is in factor, but I think just Jinx is going to be the best one. And we're not slamming the Crown right now, reducing our necessity for APM. Don't want to forget about it. And, you know, maybe we can kill the unit somehow along the way. But we are going to be going for that loss streak. Our items right now with the sword, I am not too happy. Like, we can still convert this into a Sterak's Gauge or just like a Shojin 4 Karma. But we have a pause, so we'll be right back. So we are back talking about the mech line, right? The sword... You can find ways to kill it, and it's good that we're loss streaking, right? We're going to find a way to potentially get the components we want. We definitely want like at least 3 rods for this ASO line to work. You want your death cap, you want your JG. Theoretically, you want even more death caps, and then you want Morellos. The sword is a tricky one to kill, especially if you're not playing around the Fiora version, where you can also have the items on Urgot and then transition onto Fiora. But we'll probably figure it out. We are immediately lipping better together. We are playing from a loss streak. Now, the thing is, with a better together, unless you are heavily loss streaking, you can be sacrificing your components right there. And we have to make a choice here. Hoping to go for a glove instead of completing the protect, the stealth stoneplate, sorry. Stoneplate, but obviously double stoneplate is still the best one you would be going for. But he sees an Orn and he's just hoping to sell it nonetheless. Maybe he considered potential for, you know, a lot of players also cash out into the Space Grove line as a possibility. But since it's contested already, we're, I would assume, heavily angling Mech here. We have it in the team planner already with the Mordekaiser, as you can see. Going to be having an easy time completing our lost streak. Doesn't seem like there's anyone really opening us. But yeah, with Better Together, you have to be wary. Because, for example, right now we can see we are not in the bottom 2 HP. And we definitely want our component animals. We really do want our component animals for this kind of spot. We have a glove that can transition also obviously into TGs, if you went about it, but this is the worrisome part for us right now. Completing our 5 streak without any too many problems, we should be in a decent spot to potentially angle the 500 cash out from this kind of a spot. We would want to ideally preserve a little bit more HP for that to be the case, but I think we are on pace and should be able to still cash out at least on a single live. Ideally, you cash out on 2 lives because you never know. Dish Soap, for example, had a game in this tourney where he cashed out, I think it was 500, but due to the turn being high APM, he did not exactly get his positioning off and got dropped by Akali. The Akali killed the Mech and he went 8th right away, and it ended up being one of the reasons why he didn't make the final lobby. However, Bruhbruhbruhwho finished 9th in regionals, 9th in worlds, but for your first year, set in TPC, going to worlds and finishing 9th, this player has immense potential, being very young. If I'm not mistaken, he's around 20 at the moment, so hey, all the best of luck to him. Great to see this up-and-coming talent. They are here for entertainers for sure. Going into Soju here, the Tempo Timmy with the Leona 3 printed already and the Vanguard spot. They're playing Shojin, Rageblade, most likely angling that LeBlanc line right away. I mean, Tempo Timmy could transition into something else. I do not think he's going to be playing a Leona, the Diana reroll, but in a great spot to be going for it. For ourselves, Twin Guardians is amazing, still overstated for a silver augment and good into this mech line, especially if you pair with something like a Morgana to be the second unit to be taking up. Generally, when we're playing for this mech line, though, we're angling more on econ because we will need to hard stabilize ourselves on the stage 4, sometimes having to even roll onto the end of stage 3 PvE. Therefore, having that extra gold just to secure that cushion and to be able to push levels as 9 exiles. An augment that has fallen out of the favor this set due to the potential for the wraps and obviously the nerfs here, mostly the nerfs that they received. I would be either considering Twin Guardians as a very strong higher cap potential for us to actually win out the game, believing that the cash out might be just enough. On the roll, good for your rerolls whenever you are able to hit multiple units, and he is going to believing that Twin Guardians is going to be strong enough. We have made the recon intervals very aggressively, only having to play around 3 units. And we're going to be good here. We scout the lobby, we see that a lot of players are playing strong boards. I would still be worrisome here and simply remove the crown every single turn just to see, like, you never know, someone last second might be like, alright, screw you dude, I'm going to be going full open nonetheless, even though I have the tempo, just to mess with your game. Generally not going to happen in Worlds, especially this was from day 1 when everyone's trying to earn as many points as they can. But, you know, one extra action, little actions, can compile and actually change your game, and we are just slamming an open road in this Aurora for now. Like, if you just slam this thing, once we load it and can see the fight, we are fine. 53 HP, so we should probably be ending the stage around 33, so thankfully we hadn't queued into too many players who had leveled very aggressively, so we haven't taken the biggest of the losses that we possibly could. And we should have another life to potentially cash out at 4-2, and that should definitely seal that 500 cash out. We're getting 400 next turn, and then yeah, we need 3 turns, I think, more to cash out 500 if I'm not mistaken, if my math is not wrong right now. And for ourselves, Blessing of Size again, we have no use of the duplicators really for ourselves. Again, do not see rods here. Are we? I guess we can take the belt, flexible component, allows us to kill the sword. Could we consider the tier, but we do not have it because we need the void staff, but we do not have half of the bow either just yet. The Blessing of Size is nice for your mighty mech, obviously just putting in more HP. However, the mech is going to love primary resistances, which is thankfully sorted partially out through the Twin Guardians, and then having durability. Those are the 2 best stats for him. Therefore, something like a Warmog's more is useful onto that Morgana right there because of her HP scaling. Mech just doesn't have the greatest of the HP scalings. Opted to immediately slam the death cap instead of the jeweled gauntlet right there, leaving that glove open for a potential for it to become something else. And now Yeah, we're getting 70, so there's two possibilities we can be considering here. Losing this fight obviously is the first thing we're going to be doing then, and the last fight we probably want to slide sack, right? We might have to gauge how far we can roll, and since we can secure that win with the loss, sorry, with the crown, and we see we can remove it here because we had Kai Weng, I believe it was, or someone else who was with a weaker space group border, just to make sure that we can secure a loss. With a heavy of the crown, we can safely consider potentially rolling down and trying to win the last fight, and just have to make sure that Aurora gets those takedowns. She would need to get now 5 takedowns in the last fight. And that way we could be cashing out at 500, which is considered to be the cash out that pretty much instantly wins you the game. However, the downside of that play would be that we do not exactly get to see what our cash out is, and we do not have a Reforger just yet. And another pause. Resuming, the YBY1 disconnected there. Quite a bit of pause tech because everyone's playing this game from their home. But we can see we're going for that roll down. We only now find a single mech. We're also holding onto these LeBlancs for a potential, but we don't have a Rageblade really either to be playing around this LeBlanc. So this is going to be an interesting how we're going to be stringing together. If we're going to try to buy this LeBlanc pair, making that Sterex gauge. Do not have a Stoneplate either. I mean, we completed a JG. We're going to go with Spirit Visage, providing the durability right there. And yeah, we're trying to just this is fine if we win or lose this fight. I mean, ideally we win this fight, so we are getting that 500 cash out. It's nice that we upgraded that to Aurora. Has the heads up, had to make that investment. But our unit situation is bad, kind of mid, and we haven't been able to pick up the Tomkench either at the last augment selection. We are poor. Our board, we'll have to see how our cash out turns out. And cybernetic uplink is generally good if you have, for example, if you're taking the spam 100 cash outs, this gains immense value for yourselves. This is good in lines where you can utilize this mana gen quite well. Indiscriminate killer could provide us with damage items. I think damage items is the one part we're sorted out. We have JG, we have Death Cap, we have Crown. We'll be looking more for potential frontline. Therefore, malicious monetization, if we are able to spike and get those secure kills, could allow us to spike and make up the gold loss that we have right now due to not having an econ augment. But are we going to be able to be strong enough? This is a tough question to make right now. And he believes to be doubling down. And plot armor is something that I'm not too excited in the mech line. More for something like the Vanguards, I think it's quite good, can synergize with those shields. Tons of stats, just your generic combat option if you are looking for a potential for the combat. He's going to be passing up. He's going to be going with the plot armor instead. I mean, we do our flip there and it's better than tons of stats. And Glass Cannon, Damage Jump is generally alright for the Mighty Mech. The Striker's Flare is a decent last item to be considering. But since we're lacking on the frontline department, this would be doubling down on the resistances we receive in some form. So there's little redundancy in his stats right there. But we're simply believing that this would be a weaker point. But you can see this cash out right here. Balabunny, Crossbow, Echoing Beyblades, no Reforger. This is not something you want, so this is going to be a tough turn. We're going to be making this LeBlanc too, just as a potential carry. We're now looking for any form of way we could potentially stabilize, because these Anima items are not really translating for us to anyhow. We do not have something like a Fiora that can utilize them. We're just going to be tossing them onto the Karma. See 2 more LeBlancs in shop. We do not have any melee carries, and he's just scrambling in his team planner. He picked a comp, I'm not exactly sure, because I mean, Balabunny Crossbow, maybe you could use Zaya. I'm not sure what a Stargazer is right now in the lobby, but just doing your whole board pivot that way is not going to work. Can make the Karma too. I guess we have to invest in these units to try to string together some kind of a board. Still have this, I mean, I guess he swapped to the other version where we have this Fiora and this, like the Nova units we could flex on level 8 for a potential to stabilize. But and we have the Fiora, but we do not have any of the upgraded mechs. We do not have the Urgot even, and transforming them would be quite of a big investment. However, thankfully, since we have made this LeBlanc and she is so strong of a unit in the current meta, you are just slitting her in, and you can see he's trying to adjust his board right there. Picking up Lovers here, just Soraka's Embrace is something no one takes. Like, that thing is just bad, and some shitter is going to die and take the shield away, and it's not going to receive much value. Do not hit Fiora. Do not hit a Cloak for Stoneplate. Maybe Blitzcrank? It should be better than Vex. We have no items for Vex, and I don't know how we flit Rammus. We don't have any Bastions. He wants the sword, though. Alright, he wants the sword. Maybe for a GA to complete the third item carry if we are going to be playing into this Fiora. She loves that. We pick up a couple of Master Yis as well. And we're selling off the mechs here. We're just completely selling off the mechs here. We are... I am having a hard time to figure out. We did not pick up that Maokai from last shop either. I mean, this is a tough turn to consider. This is a very hard to figure out what the hell you are going to be doing in this kind of spot. He had one of the games in the regionals where he got Graves too early on and also had an extremely high potential win out, but simply got dizzy due to it being a very non-standard way to be approaching the line and ended up losing. Thankfully here we made those early investments into a duo carry potential. We hit that Morgana too. Now we have a Yi too as well, but and then we just pair that with Fiora. We have a Graves that we could potentially consider. Yeah, he's pivoting into some form of a Master Yi flex here, but we still are keeping this Karma for the backline access for, because we need someone to be holding onto these psionic items, and we are not even placing our crown right now because we do not have these free item slots, and I guess we have a AD unit that can hold at least them for now, and that would explain why we were going for an Edge of Night, right? Because Master Yi, that is the best item you can pick up from him. Thankfully you have a Soraka, so he can heal us definitely up to 2 lives. Immediately take this because we need to sort out our anti-heal, but we still do not have any form of armor reduction or magic resistance. We are playing it in mixed damage type comp, so we need to go for it. Going for this heavily focused fire positioning and this open up the sea way to try to potentially get the E-Wrap, and I assume we was going to be placing the crown onto the Karma right there, and we have slotted in the Graves for a potential for scaling. He's theoretically one of the users of Battle Bundling Crossbows, if you go for something like the spam attack build. There are the ones where you can, when he likes to same target, he gains a lot of attack speed. That can be quite good. Now we are on the same side as Nami, but thankfully the GA is going to keep our Yi alive, and this Morgana is holding down the line. We're able to take out Zyko here, sending him 8th. So are we going for the marksman frame here? Yes, we are going to be going that pathway. So we have the back of environment. We can potentially transition these items right there. Going to make a Bloodthirster. An Echo, still tossing the items right there. Yeah, this Grave still hasn't scaled up, so he's not going to receive the value. Still, we're not placing our crown. I mean, the Karma has a little bit of backline access, but why wouldn't we just be putting on the crown onto the Karma here? It doesn't cost us removers to remove it, right? I mean, maybe he's just forgetting about it. Yeah, we go with a double tap just to get the attack speed rolls in right there. Going to be going for aggressive level, as we definitely looking to go for it. Fielding Pike for 3 Psionic and getting the Voyager buff. Getting Voyager 2 online is going to be quite worthwhile, getting a little bit more frontline. Still interesting that he's trying to get the whole focus fire there and potential for the Yi to wrap. Another Space Group player right here. Yi is in the mix, but he's trying to perceive the flash from the Namis right there. Nonetheless, we have strung together a very strong board here, but just simply playing into whatever upgrades we can. In a sense, we're picking up the IE because it synergizes so well with the Battle Bundling Crossbows. Getting them to be able to hit is insane value. And now we are opting to use the duplicator onto the Fiora too. Still not making this investment into the Graves just for the worthwhile now. And still not playing the Crown. Am I missing something? Why would we not be playing the Crown right here? Just maybe because I don't think the Karma should be theoretically quite safe. But yeah, invested into our upgrades and just saw what items we can make. We still noted that we had to make use of some kind of backliner there. We were able to string this Karma together with the Darkstar for a little while. Now we have the utilizing her for the Voyagers. Have the potential to maybe transition into a Sona Cap if we find that for our last slot. And now we're holding also to Aatrox because we still need that Shred and Sunder, so could we somehow toss in like a Bastion synergy across this board as well. And yeah, we're going to Twin Guardians right there because that's why we are constantly keeping the Stormcatcher, for example, Master Yi in the 3rd row. Whoa, this is... I mean, if you've seen this board in a higher reroll than gold, then props to you if you've seen it succeed, because I have never seen something like this. But this is just like, you know, bronze for life. We're tossing things together, but we do not have bronze for life. We're just trying to play around this cash out, playing whatever units we can upgrade and, you know, nicely trying to see them synergize together. Now we hit that Graves too, so now we are more interested in transitioning the items. Nicely can move them onto Fiora. Yeah, this Karma can just apply that Last Whisper quite well, but again, we do not have a slot for our crown, so we're basically playing a gold augment down constantly, just trying to play from the power of this 500 Anima cash out. We can see here, able to take out Soju here to secure ourselves a 3rd. Just the immense power spike that we have received now is quite good. We see that our last psionic item is the mana generating one as well. And now we are going to have to face the Lulu from reroll from the Bensack, and YB by 1 here with that Space Groove kind of flex here has made it to the bar too. It's an interesting way he has opted to cap the board here. It's like a Vanguard, that's more of a Vanguard board as not the Space Groove one, but this Battle Bunny Crossbows Graves just going absolutely apeshit, able to simply, there's so much AoE he's putting it out with his attack speeds. You can see this immense damage, and we kill our Ghost killed Bensack's Lulu reroll board, so we're quite happy. We're considering probably going to be able to win. We have the Sona in the shop if we wanted to slot it in. Also, with no subtle play, we played around this Rust the whole time, and now we're going to be slotting in the Sona for the last Psionic just to get the mana item. We're going to have to little time to finish off the items, but the Graves doesn't have the best of the angles, but still is able to chip at the whole of the front line, do an immense amount of damage. Just got close. Nonetheless, he was able to complete it. And just wow, if there was a definition for what flex TFT might look like, this is the closest thing we're going to be getting in the modern era. Getting a cash out that you are not expecting and you know is bad for the line, having to make these decisions on the fly, just hitting upgraded units, trying to stabilize on whatever you can, and slowly try to transition your board into what your items are going to be fitting the best. And through there, stringing together, utilizing this Rust, for example, because we have so many bronze traits, how we have flexed the board just for that armor and magic resistance, playing around this psionic as well for the extra items, finding the AD item holders, and transitioning to this high cap Graves and Fiora duo carry, truly displaying his knowledge of the set, of the trait web, and the fundamentals of what makes a strong board. Having the frontline presence, having that concentrated possibility for damage, greatly pushing the tempo, knowing when you're going to be the strongest, trying to play around that spike to be able to push levels and secure yourself a win out. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you'll learn something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.